Welcome to Dad Talk Today. The podcast for dads facing some of the toughest moments of their lives. We are here to walk with men through divorce, keep them connected to their kids, help them understand their rights, and work for change in family law courts. Moms, you are always welcome too. We are all about advocating for shared parenting and doing what is best for our kids. Here is your host, Eric Carroll.
Hey everybody, welcome to Dad Talk. Today I am here with the legend, Mr. Matt Hughes. Matt, what's going on?
I'm good, but I'm just an ordinary guy.
Yeah, well, I tell you, man, I've been watching you for years, and I got to say you were one of my favorite fighters of all time. And, you know, it seems like over the past several years, you had an accident back in 2017. Can you walk us through what happened and what that was like?
Well, I don't remember really the day. I was at a farmer's house getting some diesel fuel for a tractor, and I drove to the tractor to put fuel in there, and everyone thinks I'm crazy for getting it, but the country crossing had no cross arms, and it was very narrow, so most people, when they see the crossing, they think what's coming at them because it's so steep and narrow. But when you turn to the right, which was the way the train came, only you could see was the headrest of the passenger seat.
Oh, so you couldn't see, couldn't see that the train was coming. What was that like? Did you remember anything that day? Or?
Nothing.
What was that like when you woke up and finally realized what was going
on?
on?
I was in a coma for 19 days, so it just makes me mad. For 90 days, I didn't put chapstick on. I'm a big chapstick fan.
Right. Man, it's, you know, I know it's got to be difficult. I mean, what was that like getting back to life and after this injury?
I just remember being in a hotel room, happy. There was a bed across the hospital that was getting built, so I was happy to watch the workers, but I just couldn't figure anything out. Actually, I had this nurse take me to lunch every day, and I couldn't talk much, but I could type. So this meant give me a phone so I could type. So she take me one day. So she gave me her phone. I said, "Who are you?" She looked at the phone. She stopped the wheelchair, come in front of me and said, I'm your wife. Let me see your ID. I just had no memory whatsoever. So she showed me her ID, and she was my wife.
Right. Matt, I know you're a father. What was that like as a father with your kids?
I knew them when they when they finally come to the hospital. I just remember them.
You remember them?
Yeah, I did the whole time.
That's awesome. You know, and that's one thing that, you know, a father's love, it doesn't go away, you know, and that's an amazing story.
Not even by a train.
Right. So, tell us a little bit about your career. Yeah, that's, you know, we talk a lot about what it's like being a parent and some of the struggles that these guys are going through. A lot of our audience that we're talking to are facing what's called parental alienation, false allegations, being kept away from their kids. But I'm curious, as a fighter, what was that like being a dad and being gone on the road all the time?
I hated it, but I love to travel too, so I like going places. For the UFC, I traveled all over the world, but I also had a hunting show, so I traveled all over the world for that too. So I like being on a plane, and for me it's fun going new places, but it was sad a little bit just being away so much because my kids were everything to me.
Right. You know, I know that's got to be interesting. I mean, what kind of contact would you have when you would be on the road? Did you get to have much? Just cell phone?
Just phone calls.
I know that's a lot of sacrifice, and you guys, you go through a lot, you know, to make those sacrifices. And What's that like now after the accident, looking back on your career, knowing some of the things that you had done, and now not being able to do some of the things that you once could?
We're, I'm sorry.
You're fine,
Lot
bud.
of regrets. I don't talk quite the same since the accident, but a lot of things I would change, but you don't get to change me. Just now, my theory is walk forward and just be as good as you can now, because you can't change the past.
Right. Now, have you talked to anybody that's been in a similar accident or something, a story kind of similar to yours, and them seeing you on your road to recovery, that it's inspired them?
I have some friends help me with my Instagram and other social media sites, because I really, if I could live in a box in the mountains, I would just be away from people. But they help me with stuff, so I wish they could be here. But there's some people that had brain injuries like mine, and I went to to stem cell, which was very good for me. I tell anyone, if you have a problem with anything, look into stem cell, because in Colombia, they can do much more than the U.S. can't.
What is some of the differences that you saw with the stem cells, Matt?
Before stem cell, I can walk down stairs without holding a handrail, and then now I can. Like, the next day, I could go down the stairs without holding a handrail. And it's just, a lot of people get it because it's, you're injecting yourself with youth.
Right. That's awesome that they've got that, and I'm glad to hear that. I think we need to start getting some more research on that.
And the pharmaceutical companies want to keep people sick, so they keep giving the money, and so they don't want stem cell, but that's terrible.
Absolutely. So I see you back in the gym. It seems like you're still very active. What's that like? What's your workouts like now?
My friends say I'm a motivator and a person that people look up to. So I try to inspire people to have them be as good as they can. So I'm doing a leg challenge now. I do 20, 30, 4 plays on each side. And this week I did 20, 30, 120. And so it starts with 20, 30, 40. Next week 20, 30, 50. Next week 20, 30, 60. And so now I'm up to 20, 30, 120. And next week will be 20, 30, 130.
Awesome. Matt, I know you're going through divorce, and we're not here to talk about your story, but a lot of our guys are going through divorces. They're facing false allegations. Some of the most hardest things ever, being kept away from their kids. I'm just curious, what are some of your thoughts, or what are some things that you could tell to some of these fathers that are fighting to overcome these allegations and parental alienation?
Just know I've been there. I've been alleged to do bad things that never happened. So just keep your eyes on your prize and the kids, and just know it'll all change, and just keep walking forward.
Just keep pressing. Yep. Matt, and tell us about this. You've overcome adversity and you keep pressing. What are some of the things that motivate you to keep getting out there and doing what you're doing?
I love helping people. So that's my big motivator. Even with the leg press challenge, I love helping people and challenging people. I'm so competitive. If I don't think I can win, I won't play the game.
Yeah.
So I'm just that's the way I've always been. I want to be the best at everything. So just know things are gonna get better, and I don't know why, but when I go to heaven, I've got a lot of questions for God. Number one, why has He been so good for me, and why does He answer most of my prayers? But I just want to know why the big man always looks out for me.
Well, you said you like helping people, and so many people look up to you, Matt, and you're turning that pain into purpose. You're using what you're doing even now, telling your story. There's so many people that are going to see this and those words of inspiration. And I just pray, man, keep doing what you're doing because it means a lot to a lot of people. Well, a lot of us grew up watching you, and we was pulling for you the whole way through, and now seeing you get back to recovery, it's very inspiring. You didn't give up.
No, it's not in my system to give up at all. You know that with the Frank trick, but
So I got to ask you about that. What was that like, getting that little knock in the groin, and then he didn't stop? I mean, what was going through your head at that point in time?
well, only time in the fight I was pissed, and you could tell I was pissed. But so he hits me, he knees me in the groin, and I know he felt it because damn it, I could feel it. And when he hit my cup, so he felt it good.
Oh yeah.
And he told people afterwards he felt it. But so next thing I know, I'm on the ground. He's punching at me. I'm just trying to survive. And the next thing I know, he's mounted, and I can't do some things. It's funny, but sometimes you need to react as quick as you can, and sometimes you need to think. And I just thought for a second and figured out what he was doing wrong, and then I just reacted to his mistakes. But he never had me in a choke. He didn't have anything. But when I got on top of him, I was pissed.
I bet you was.
And
we saw it.
when I picked him up, I was right in front of his corner because I could hear them. So I knew my corner was across the octagon. So I picked him up and put him in front of my corner so I could hear my corner, and he couldn't hear his.
Oh man.
So that's what was going through my mind. Let's go home and keep him away from his family.
Well, you know what, Matt? He definitely paid for it.
I was mad on him, and then he rolled over, gave me his back, and I was pissed off because I couldn't punch him in the face anymore. But then he rolled over and let me punch him, and then I choked him.
Well, man, as a dad, this interview means so much to me, but I also got that fan in me as well. So right before we get out of here, I'm curious, who was your hardest fight through your career?
GSP.
GSP? What are your predictions on if GSP actually does go against Khabib?
I don't know which GSP will show up. If it's old GSP, I think he wins.
Yeah.
I just don't know who shows up now.
What was it about George St. Pierre that was different than everybody else?
He was just about as strong as me. He was quicker than me, and he just the speed.
Yeah.
He was quicker than me. I was never a real fast guy. I always had power, but power's so slower than speed.
Right. So I'm a Columbus, Georgia boy. I came from the country. Where is your song? A Country Boy Can Survive. Why did you pick that song?
I picked a couple before that. I picked it for a couple years before they finally got it, and then Dan White just said they won't let us, but just screw it. I'm going to use it anyway. So he used it without authority. I let it because that's who I am.
Absolutely. So you want to inspire people. You want to help other people. You're back in the gym. You're doing good. What's next for Matt Hughes?
I wish I could talk about a fight, but my friends won't let me fight again. But that trend took fighting away from me. So it sucks because for a while I was good and money was good, but now when I go to sleep at night, I think about what I'm going to do the next day. So I just love being busy, and a good share for me is there's dirt going down the drain.
Right.
If there's no dirt going down the drain, I just don't feel like I work.
Right. So you just made a film with my buddy Luca, amazing guy, After the Cage. I'm curious, what's that like? What is life like after the fight?
it sucks.
It does. Because I know there's adrenaline and everything, you know, being on the stage, training, the whole thing that comes along with it. I mean, how is it adjusting to that, you know, after the fight?
It's just a big boat. I'll never get back. And people ask me about the toughest fight, but actually training was so much harder than a fight. If I trained properly, the fight's easy.
Right. Well, man, thank you for so many memories coming up, and thank you for speaking with us. And I hope to talk to you again sometime soon.
Whenever you want.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We are fighting for the rights of parents worldwide. If you want to help support our podcast and for us to continue this mission, please join us at patreon.com/DadTalkToday. You will find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, CloutHub, Parler, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, the podcast app, Google, Apple Podcasts. We're a little bit of everywhere. And guys, every time you like and subscribe, you help us continue this mission. Thank you, and we will see you next time.